Carmine?
Mr. Carmine?
Yes. Mr. Dick?
Mr. Dick?
Mr. Ludley?
Mr. Ludley?
Ms. Stryker?
Ms. Stryker?
Yes.
Albert?
Mr. Albert?
All right. Now we need, I'm going to open nominations for vice president. Do I have any nominations?
I nominate Mr. Albert.
Okay. Second?
I'll second that.
Okay. And vote. Any more motions? No? Okay, let's go ahead and have a vote.
All right.
Mr. Dick?
Mr. Dick?
Mr. Ludley?
Mr. Ludley?
Ms. Stryker?
Ms. Stryker?
Yes.
Albert?
Mr. Albert?
Mr. Carmine?
Mr. Carmine?
Okay. Establish date and time and location of regular board meetings. Do we all want to stick to the third Monday? Okay. Yes. Okay. Yep, that works for me. Do I have a motion? Okay. Second?
Mr. Ludley?
Yep, that's right, Mr. Ludwig. And let's go ahead and have
Mr.
a
Ludley?
Mr. Ludley?
Ms. Stryker?
Ms. Stryker?
Yes.
Albert?
Mr. Albert?
Yes. Mr. Carmine?
Mr. Carmine?
Yes. And Mr. Dick?
And Mr. Dick?
Okay, authorization for the treasurer to request advance draws of tax settlements of up to $600,000 each. Do I have a motion? A second? Okay. Mr. Ludley, second. Now let's go ahead and have a vote,
Ms.
please.
Stryker?
Ms. Stryker?
Yes.
Mr. Albert?
Mr. Albert?
Mr. Carmine?
Mr. Carmine?
Yes. Mr. Dick?
Mr. Dick?
I guess I have a question. Is this normal? I don't remember this from last year.
This, yes.
Mr. Ludley?
Mr. Ludley?
Item 7, authorization for the treasurer to invest interim and active funds as deemed appropriate to gain best interest. Can I have a motion, please? Okay, second, I have Dick for first, Albert for second. Any discussion? Okay, vote please.
Mr. Albert?
Mr. Carmine?
Mr. Carmine?
Yes. Mr. Dick?
Mr. Dick?
Mr. Ludley?
Mr. Ludley?
Ms. Stryker?
Ms. Stryker?
Yes. Number 8, design a purchasing agent for district and establishment of maximum allowable single purchases without prior board approval. We have Jen Penzarski as purchasing agent, maximum allowable single purchase amount of $25,000. Do I have a motion? Have a second? Ludley. Any discussion? Discussion? Okay, call for a vote,
Mr.
please.
Carmine?
Mr. Carmine?
Yes. Mr. Dick?
Mr. Dick?
Mr. Ludley?
Mr. Ludley?
Ms. Stryker?
Ms. Stryker?
Mr. Albert?
Mr. Albert?
Item 9, authorization supervisor, technology supervisor, and transportation supervisor to purchase supplies and materials up to a maximum of $2,500 per order. Do Do I have a motion to accept?
Albert.
And a second? Dick, and discussion? Any discussion? No? Okay, I have a vote, please.
Mr. Dick?
Mr. Ludley.
Mr. Ludley?
Ms. Stryker.
Ms. Stryker?
Yes.
Mr. Albert?
Mr. Carmine.
Mr. Carmine?
Yes.
Okay. Item 10, authorization for superintendent to approve staff member attendance at professional meetings. Do I have a motion to accept? And a second? Ledley, any discussion? Okay, go ahead and have a
Mr.
vote.
Ludley.
Mr. Ludley?
Ms. Stryker.
Ms. Stryker?
Yes.
Mr. Albert.
Mr. Albert?
Mr. Carmine.
Mr. Carmine?
Yes.
Mr. Dick.
Mr. Dick?
Okay. Item 11 is a committee appointments by the president. Do I need to go through all of these, Jen? Okay. So do I have a motion to accept?
Albert.
Okay. A second? Carmine, yay! Any discussion, any questions? Okay. Let's have a vote,
Ms.
please.
Stryker.
Ms. Stryker?
Yes.
Albert.
Mr. Albert?
Mr. Carmine.
Mr. Carmine?
Yes.
Mr. Dick.
Mr. Dick?
Mr. Ludley.
Mr. Ludley?
Okay. 12, appoint Jennifer Penzarski as Title IX Compliance Officer. This deals with sexual discrimination. Do I have a motion? Ledley, and a second? Albert. Discussion? Discussion, can I have a vote, please?
Mr. Albert.
Yes.
Mr. Albert?
Mr. Carmine.
Mr. Carmine?
Yes.
Mr. Dick.
Mr. Dick?
Mr. Ludley.
Mr. Ludley?
Ms. Stryker.
Ms. Stryker?
Yes. 13, appoint Michelle Wise as Section 504 Coordinator. This deals with ADA compliance, correct, Ed? Okay. Do I have a motion? Nick, and a second? Albert, any discussion? Okay, I'll have a vote, please.
Mr. Carmine.
Mr. Carmine?
Yes.
Mr. Dick.
Mr. Dick?
Mr. Ludley.
Mr. Ludley?
Ms. Stryker.
Ms. Stryker?
Yes.
Mr. Albert?
Approve Jill Smith and Chad Thrush as Title VI coordinators, race, color, and national origin. Do I have a motion? Ludley? Second? Dick? And any discussion? Okay, any other discussion? Okay, can I have a vote, please?
Mr. Dick.
Mr. Dick?
Mr. Ludley.
Mr. Ludley?
Ms. Stryker.
Ms. Stryker?
Yes.
Albert.
Yes.
Mr. Albert?
Mr. Carmine.
Mr. Carmine?
Mr. Carmine.
Mr. Carmine?
Yeah.
Okay, motion to adjourn organizational meeting at, I have 7:12. Okay, 7:12, I have Albert. Do I have a second? Dick, and a vote, Any discussion?
Mr. Ludwig?
Mr.
Good.
Ludwig?
Mr. Striker?
Mr. Stryker?
Yes.
Mr. Striker?
That's Riker.
Mr.
That's my
Elbert?
dad.
Mr. Albert?
Mr. Carmine?
Mr. Carmine?
You're up, Doug. You're up, Doug.
Say yes. Say yes.
Nod your head.
Yeah, it's on his end because I'm in the same meet and everything we're doing is fine. He's just
He said yes.
He said yes.
sitting there with a smile on his face.
Mr. Dick?
No, we got this. Sometimes it just makes us smile. And one thing I wanted to ask Mr. Albert, you asked for qualifications, can I jump in? Because of the requirements for what is required of the estimated, the administrative so that they're able to from a contract, like the negotiated agreements and also able to I wasn't sure what your question was.
I'll talk to you about that. I'll talk to you about that.
Okay, on to the regular board meeting, now that we got all the other stuff. So time in 7:14. And can I have roll call, please?
Mr. Albert?
Yes.
Mr. Albert?
Mr. Carmine?
Mr. Carmine?
Yes.
Mr. Dick?
Mr. Dick?
Mr. Ludwig?
Mr. Ludwig?
Ms. Striker?
Ms. Stryker?
Yes. Blink 3 times if you can hear us. Pledge of allegiance, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay,
He
approval
moved.
and or corrections of the minutes of the last meeting, which was December 14th, 2020. Do I have a motion to accept? Okay. Do I have a second?
Dick.
I heard Ledley first. And any discussion? Yeah. No questions? I'll go ahead and have a vote.
Mr. Carmine?
Yes.
Mr. Dick?
Mr. Dick?
Mr. Ludwig?
Mr. Ludwig?
Ms. Striker?
Ms. Stryker?
Yes.
Mr. Albert?
Okay. Oh my goodness. All right. Principal, supervisor. Doesn't look like we have any reports. Okay. No public participation tonight. Okay. Reports of the treasurer. Approve the following December 31st reports. Can I have a motion, please? Albert? And can I have a second? Dick, any discussion?
I wanted to comment
again, the last one.
Our cash balance for our general fund
is
a little bit higher
than the last 2 fiscal years. Again, it's because we've been deferring, some salaries into other funds. So, good thing, especially when we're getting real close to starting to collect our first collection on taxes in February. So, that'll really help us out as well. And also, I got a phone call from my husband today just to let you know, replacement bus that we have ordered, that's the spare 7 bus. He's found a buyer for that, so that will be gone on Wednesday.
Okay. Any other discussion? No? Then I will call for a vote, please.
Mr. Dick?
Mr. Dick?
Mr. Ludwig?
Mr. Ludley?
Ms. Striker?
Ms. Stryker?
Yes.
Mr. Albert?
Mr. Carmine?
Mr. Carmine?
Yes.
Okay, item 7, superintendent. Superintendent reports or communications.
The only thing, we did have some committee meetings with the board members going on those. We're happy to be back for business. I think business will go really well. The February meeting will look a little different. We'll actually start meeting at 5:30. We'll go into immediate executive session, negotiation between our attorney. And so if you're someone who comes to the meeting or participates in the meeting, the actual meeting is still be at 7, but the technical start time has to be 5:30. So just keep that in your mind that we will have to open at 5:30. We'll go into executive session. Then we'll follow the agenda, do the agenda. The other thing that happens in February is that you'll see the proposals for the calendar. We don't vote on calendars in February, but you get to see the hours and the days. And usually at that meeting, we also bring the staff's response for which calendar they prefer. So we're in the process of designing those calendars, and so that's what you have to look forward to in February. I think that's all.
Thank you. Item 8, committee reports. Finance committee.
Yes, I have a video on that, share on that, and Jill either sound on, or so the first piece that I have is there's been discussion of fuel tag for the buses, and the discussion is philosophy just like about tag, but I know that a few things need to happen to have it fall in place. It needs to be an RFP created to get the estimate of the cost, and I think Doug and Ryan are going to try to maybe meet and discuss options with that, and then maybe bring it to the facilities committee in February to possibly further expand on what that's going to look like and the cost and everything, and what all needs to be put in place to have it. Jill had shared some information about the cafeteria report. It looks like going into December, the revenue was in the red, and that's just because being remote as opposed to being in the buildings. We have received some, I believe, some COVID funds that kind of offset those losses. It looks like probably anywhere from about $2,000 to $3,000 is already there. Received to kind of help offset that a little bit. And I think you had also mentioned, Joe, that you had budgeted for $110,000 to cover the deficit when you had the forecast. The other piece that we had talked about was within the budget process. Again, Jill shared with us information on that. Do you want me to speak on that? Did you want that?
Go on that one. Our February 8th administrative meeting, I will all the administrators now, they're having it back in, and I've already shared with them, but we're gonna start that process for the next year for budgeting. So what I will do is go over where we're at with this year's budget, have a look at the past 3 years, and then probably talk about the needs for the next year, and how we're going to budget by the end of February, come back and hopefully reconcile those numbers so we can get going for the next year.
All right, thanks, Jill. The next piece that I was going to just briefly talk about, and Sam might even be able to expand a little bit more on that in the athletic report. There's talk and discussion about implementing like a Ohio recognition display or athlete display for like first team all Ohio athletes. So I think the idea is that probably sometime maybe around February 3rd, I'll approach Brett and Chad about just seeing what the quote's going to look like to get that going. And like I said, the other piece was the girls' lockers have been installed at the field house. The new girls' lockers, there's 30 lockers installed in the field house. It looked very sharp. And then I know there was also talk about the insurance change, and everything's been going very well with that. Everybody seems to be receiving that very well, with how Jefferson Health Plan is managing the consortium and everything with that. So, and I think that's really all I've got as far as the financial report goes.
Okay, thank you. Facilities?
Did not meet.
Did not meet, okay. Extracurricular?
Yes, we meant, pull this up here. He touched on it briefly. We were talking about all Ohio student recognition. We're in the process of getting as many names as we can, and then kind of take the next steps there. With the help of Brett and Chad, we look to have something maybe implemented, kind of like a rough draft of what we want to do next month. Northwest Ohio girls basketball application. We approved their application as far as them wanting to run girls basketball again. Like Brandon previously mentioned, locker rooms are installed now at the field house. And if you wonder how the field house is doing, we're actually getting multiple tour requests from area schools. So area schools are coming in and getting a tour from Brett. So people are liking what they're seeing and kind of maybe want to see what they want to do with theirs.
Okay, great, thank you. I do not have anything for the Career Center, so let's go on to policy.
Policy did not meet.
Okay, what about curriculum and instruction?
Their meeting, I believe, is the last Monday of the month, and that's their district leadership.
Okay,
meeting.
district leadership, okay. Okay, any old business? Okay, there's no old business, let's move on to new business. Personnel items. So it looks like we have some substitute educational assistant and cafeteria, medical leave, salary adjustments, medical extensions, supplemental contracts for, looks like a lot of our sports. So can I have a motion for 11 or 10A through 10I? Brandon did, okay, so Mr. Ludley, and have a second?
Albert?
Okay. And can I have a vote, any discussion? No discussion? Okay, let's go ahead and have a vote.
Ms. Stryker?
Yes.
Mr. Albert?
Yes.
Mr. Albert?
Yes.
Carney? Mr. Carney?
Yes.
Mr. Dick? Mr. Ludwig? Mr. Ludwig?
Okay. Item 11, authorizations and resolutions. It looks like we have evaluation for speech therapists, a couple of grants. Jen, do you want to speak on those?
Those were the ones that we spoke about last week,
Okay.
or last month.
Last
the
month.
$128,000 you receive for remote learning and
Okay.
professional development.
Okay.
So with each school or organization, you have to have
Okay.
a separate agreement.
Okay, wonderful. Approve the amended certification of estimated resources and approve the amended appropriations. So can I have a motion to accept 11? Armin, okay. Second? Dick? Any discussion? No discussion, then I will ask for a vote, please.
Mr. Albert?
Yes.
Mr. Carney?
Yes.
Mr. Dick? Mr. Ludwig? Mr. Ludwig?
Yes.
Ms. Stryker?
Yes. Okay, we need to go into executive session, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so I need to approve a motion to go into executive session to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official. Time in will be 7:28.
And no action.
And no action will be taken after executive session. So can I have a motion, please?
Albert.
Albert, Doug, do you second?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I have a vote, please?
Mr. Carmine? Mr. Carmine? Mr. Dick?
Yes.
Mr. Dick?
Yes.
Ms. Stryker? Ms. Stryker?
Yes.
Mr. Ludwig? Mr. Ludwig?
Yes.
Mr. Albrecht?
Yes.
Okay. Our next regular board meeting will be February 15th. And as Jen mentioned earlier, that will start, we will go into executive session right at 5:30. And then a regular board meeting will start at 7. That's it. Thank you.